Okay, so this is my video about my teams. My main way of making money in this game is gym rerunning. So back then when I started playing at 2020, my first achievement was making 3 months with top 5 IVs, which were these ones. Here, the first one was Conqueror. Yes, Conqueror. Then I made High Dragon. Then I made Darmanitan. All at the same month. 11, 15 and 19. I used those to make Battle Tower gameplay. And I did win the level 50 challenge with this team. So after that I started farming top 5 months for PvP content. But how to get the money? Gym Rerun. So I assembled this team with the lead High Dragon and Darmanitan. This works very well against rock type gyms. I mostly U-turn with Darmanitan if I see a T-Tar or something like that, and then switch with the Conqueror. From then on, it's easy. Sometimes the Swampert kills the High Dragon, but it's easy. The water types are kind of hard if they start with Kindra. This lead with Darmanitan makes so that Kindra uses the muddy water. Normally Darmanitan dies and High Dragon kills the Kindra. Another thing that I do most of the time is leading with the E-Electros against the Kindra. So E-Electros kind of owns the water type gyms, and I use Quick Claw with that. 1 or 2 activations and it is very easy to have it by my sleeve, I could say. The other mon is Golurk. I use Golurk as a switch against fighting teams. I lead Darmanitan and High Dragon. The 2 fighting teams will target High Dragon. I will hard switch into Golurk, and from then on I kind of win easily. I also do that to avoid the double intimidate strat that sometimes occur, as well as normal types. Against what's the name? Slaking. I do the same thing. Slaking will target Golurk, then it will not attack. Darmanitan will OHKO it, and so on. That is my first team, but back then I used to make new teams because I do have a second account and my 2 accounts are full. I did all the regions, so I'm gonna show another team right now. So all of my teams features a leading dragon, I forgot to mention, and the other one was 5th gen Fimids. This one is 4th gen Fimids. I lead with Garchomp and Togekiss because I do have AoE damage with both on the Earthquake, Rock Slide, and Hyper Voice and Heat Wave. This team is pretty strong. It can deal safely with all the gyms. I do have the fighting against the T-Tar. I do have the fire type against the grass type. I do have coverage against most things. Ice types would do a number, but since I move first, I normally kill them easily with Rock Slide and Heat Wave. One thing I do with many leads is using wide lens on both, so the non 100% moves will always hit. Sometimes they do not hit against the Frostlass at ice gyms, and I can even lose, but that's not normally the case. Against water types, I lead those two, Roserade and Electivire. Sometimes I protect with the Roserade because she baits ice type moves, but more often than not, those two do a good number. And last but not least, Porygon Z to do discharge along Garchomp or along Electivire. Also, it will move in Ice Wind, and I do have Protect on most of those. 3 of those have Protect. With Protect, I safely preserve them 3 and do a good number as well. I want to point that all my teams have 5 Mons instead of 6, so I can train anything into a level 100. Right now this team is training this Golbat for the completion of the Pokédex. Next team. This is my 3-gen Femid, Gen 3 I should say. The lead is Flygon and Aerodactyl. That's a pretty effective team. I do have AoE on both of them. Most of the time I do EQ with the Flygon and Rock Slide with the Aerodactyl that do the Rock Genes, Ground Genes easily normally. I normally protect against Ice type moves that the Flygon baits, and the Aerodactyl kills Ice types. I do use Wide Lens or Aerodactyl not to miss the Rock Slide. The Flygon, I do have these teams for quite a while. Apparently hatched 2022, but I started redoing. I just rebought this Flygon because my last one was Jolly, and this one is Adamant. I miss some Okos with the Jolly ones, so I am slowly making all Jolly Mons into Adamant to test damage wise. The other Mons are Lucario, special one, priority helps a lot. Tentacruel, it is the tank of the team. The Giga Drain helps with the double weakness one. I normally use Sludge Wave paired with Lucario because he's immune, and I normally protect with the other Mon if I use Surf. That works very well. Last but not least, Hitmore, which is pretty weak, not a good Mon at all. I do use it because first of all I like it a lot, and I did enjoy the challenge of making those teams without repeating a single Mon. All the 6 do not repeat, so I needed a fire type, and Hitmore is here mostly to use Sucker Punch on some weak ghost types like Frostless, and it rarely but sometimes do the Flare Blitz. Thunder Punch can be somewhat helpful. Drain Punch will do a number on stuff like Titar, but I mainly do Sucker Punch. So next team. This is probably my best team, although it's not the one I use the most. It is the Actros lead with the Typhlosion. It normally kills anything with Eruption along Rock Slide for the Focus Sass users. Sometimes I EQ along the Mode Breaker thing and protect with Flosion. I wish this Flosion was not timid, because I miss the KO if I use Eruption and Rock Slide against Empoleon. I do want to test the modest Typhlosion and not Jolly, the Adamant Actors at some point. Maybe I will one-hit KO Empoleon on water type gyms. Against water types, I lead Victory Bell and Gyarados. it works wonders. Victory Bell baits the ice types. I do protect Gyarados Dragon Dances and or Power Whips the ice type users, which are normally water types. And from then on it's very easy. Against rock types, I normally lead with the Sand Rush Excadrill alongside Ectros. That's more than enough to do the rock types. So next team. This is my Altaria team. The lead is Altaria alongside Archops. Altaria is not that strong of an attacker, but it is tanky. I used to do Hyper Voice, but I changed it for Protect because she baits a lot of ice type attacks, and the AoE hit wave along Rock Slide is more than enough to do with most teams. If I'm against something like a rock type or a weather thing that I dislike, I do use the Vanillux for the snow. And against the water types, I normally lead Kabutops for the speed plus something. Sometimes I do not lead, but sometimes I do. And last but not least, Nidoking as a special attacker with some AoE. Next team. So, last team is the Dragonite. I do use Dragonite along Pinsir. I wish that Pinsir had Moxie, but it does not. However, the Mold Breaker helps a lot. I do have Protect, so I double protect against the Slaking and some other threats to scout, but at this point I do know what the AIs normally do against every team. The priority extreme speed is very helpful, especially against Kingdra under the rain. The other mount that I use are Starmie and Howlung. I do have Protect with all but the Gengar. So this team is pretty much the same as the others, effective but not super good. I do wish to exchange Dragonite for the other Gen 3 Dragon. I forgot its name. I'm training it. It is level 55 at the moment. So it is Salamence. I'm training Salamence to put on that last team. Why do I do it this way? Well, I started this way before I learned about the double Typhlosion and double Blastoise strat. But this strat uses 6 mounts. So I prefer a 5 mount team so I can level up a 6th one. And besides, since I do it all the time at 6 different files, I start to lose myself. So even after the account box update, I still do it this way to know what I'm doing, when I'm doing, and what I'm going to do next. Otherwise, I would waste Amulet Coin time testing if I already did this gen with this file or not, if that makes sense to you. And it is pretty fun to theory craft different strats, not repeating modes. I actually enjoyed it a lot. It didn't take all of that time, it did cost money, but it is very fun. So tell me about it, if you enjoy it, if you like it, which team is your best, and please subscribe, comment, and like or dislike. See you there.